Hello and welcome. You're watching UTV Live at 6.
Good evening. These are the headlines.
5 men are charged after a night of rioting in Dublin, with Gardaí attacked outside a hotel used to house asylum seekers.
Peaceful protest does not involve throwing bricks, bottles and discharging fireworks directly at Gardaí.
A report into a toxic culture in parts of the Belfast Trust says broken relationships between consultant cardiac surgeons continue to pose a risk to patient safety.
And a loyalist is jailed for his part in a UVF show of strength in East Belfast.
Also tonight,
she's created a tight-knit community. Please welcome Joanne Harris.
She was the toast of the Pride of Britain Awards. We chat to the remarkable Joanne Harris.
And it's set to turn a lot cooler over the next couple of days. I'll have all of the details later with the forecast.
Five men have appeared in court in Dublin, charged over rioting which erupted outside an hotel used to house asylum seekers in the city. Gardaí were attacked with missiles and a police van was burnt out at the City West Hotel.
The Garda Commissioner has condemned the violence and said that he's aware that there's a potential for more trouble, with a further public gathering proposed on social media for this evening. Sarah O'Kane reports.
Bricks and bottles and anything they could get their hands on were thrown at police in Dublin last night, and they didn't stop. Crowds gathered outside the City West Hotel that's being used to house asylum seekers. An earlier protest was being held for a second night in a row over an alleged sexual assault on a young girl in the area.
Peaceful protest does not involve throwing bricks, bottles and discharging fireworks directly at Gardaí. Peaceful protest does not involve trying to breach the Garda cordon with horses and scrambler motorbikes. Peaceful protest does not involve persons arming themselves with weapons. Peaceful protest does not involve burning Garda vehicles. This was violence with the intent to damage the City West building and intimidate those within.
Today, the scene of the serious violence was sealed off and a full policing and security operation remained in place. A female police officer was injured and had to be treated in hospital. A number of people have been charged over the violent disorder.
A criminal investigation is underway into all the circumstances of this violent disorder, being led by a senior investigating officer. I am determined that further persons will be identified and brought before the courts to face justice. And Garda Síochána is aware that a further public gathering is being proposed on social media at City West this evening.
In a statement made online, Taoiseach Micheál Martin condemned the violence and paid tribute to frontline Gardaí who acted courageously and quickly to restore order. During last night's Irish presidential TV debate, the rioting was the first thing to be brought up.
And just before I answer the question, can I just say that what we're seeing unfolding on our television screens this evening is absolutely awful. We're seeing members of our Garda Síochána being attacked with stones and with such things.
And it's very, very upsetting that we have hundreds of people gathered and that the public order unit is out from the guards. It's deeply disturbing. And I think it's time for leadership from politicians.
Around 300 officers were called in to deal with the trouble, and a special incident room has now been set up to track down those involved. Sarah O'Kane, UTV Live.
Let's join Kevin Doyle from the Irish Independent in Dublin. Kevin, was the level of violence which erupted last night in Dublin expected?
Well, I suppose it's never expected, but there was a real fear of it. There was 300 Gardaí there at City West last night. The public order unit were on standby from early in the evening. So there was an anticipation that what was supposed to be a peaceful protest could become violent. And I suppose that's what transpired.
We were hearing in that report that there is going to be another protest this evening. Does that mean there's the potential for more trouble tonight?
There is. Gardaí have put a barrier or a cordon around the entire hotel, the City West complex, today. So it's a bit more cordoned off than it was last night. But there has been a call out again on social media, and there have been various groups Gardaí are aware of looking for people to gather there in about an hour's time from now, Paul. So there will be some tension until we see who does or doesn't arrive.
Well, today 5 men have been charged so far. And given what the Garda Commissioner was saying, are there likely to be more arrests?
Yeah, there was just 6 arrests last night, 5 men, 1 woman. The woman was released without charge this morning. The 5 men brought to court. One thing that was interesting was they were all aged in their 40s and their 50s. Whereas we know from the videos and the imagery that came out last night, there was an awful lot of young people there as well. We saw this 2 years ago during the Dublin riots. A large number of arrests came after the event, and I think we can expect that. There is CCTV that Gardaí gathered, so we can definitely expect more arrests, I would say, in the days and even weeks ahead, Paul.
Well, we saw what happened in that part of Dublin last night. How have the riots, or the rioting, I should say, played out in other parts of the country?
Well, it really has centred on City West, and the reason for that is that the government have taken over that hotel. It has over 700 rooms, and that has become a real focal point. There were local protests anyway, and really what the locals were saying today is that people from around the country have come to Dublin, to Saggart in West Dublin, and kind of hijacked their concerns to turn it into something violent. So it hasn't spread at the moment. And again, the protest that's been talked about for tonight is at the hotel rather than in Dublin city centre, which will be much easier to access. It's actually relatively remote where the hotel is. It's not an easy transport point, if you like. So we'll see how it plays out. But for the moment, it's all focused on City West.
In a few seconds, Kevin, the presidential elections on Friday, is this likely to have any bearing on that election?
Probably not, Paul, for the simple reason that the 2 candidates pretty much have the same opinion on this. Both of them last night condemning it at the debate. Both of them really on the side of immigration is needed. It needs to be controlled, but it is part of society.
Kevin Doyle in Dublin, thank you very much.
UTV revealed details of a toxic culture of bullying and poor behaviour within the highly specialised cardiac surgery unit in the Royal Victoria Hospital. And that exclusive story led to the Health Minister commissioning an independent report on the matter.
Well, now details of that report have been released, and it says broken relationships between consultant cardiac surgeons continue to pose a risk to service delivery and patient safety. Here's our health correspondent, Deborah McAleese.
It's the medical unit that has been under scrutiny for its workplace culture, with allegations of bullying and poor behaviour overshadowing its life-saving work. But any attempt to move on from the controversy has been damaged by a new report into culture at the Belfast Trust. The report released today said that there remains a fundamental breakdown in relationships between some of the consultant cardiac surgeons. There is little trust between them, and consequently, there is an ongoing risk to service delivery and patient safety. The report continued that there is still significant risk associated with the dysfunctional team dynamics within the cardiac surgical team. This report was commissioned by the Health Minister after UTV revealed details of a damning review into the cardiac surgery service, which found a toxic culture of bullying within the unit. A personal feud within the unit escalated earlier this year to the point that a small number of surgeons refused to go into the workplace, and some operations had to be cancelled. The Health Minister said that he hoped that recommendations within the report would help the Belfast Trust move forward.
Well, I'm very grateful to Peter McBride and Jennifer Hill for completing that work. They've done the diagnostics and have come up with 10 recommendations, mostly for the Trust. I'm delighted that Tony Stevens, formerly of the Northern Trust, will go in to help with the implementation of that. We will also, as a department, look at the broader learnings for the health and social care system, and those learnings will be disseminated to the other trusts.
In a written statement to MLAs, Minister Nesbitt said that he remained committed to ensuring that all staff across the health and social care system experience work environments where they are valued and supported on a daily basis, and where the enduring culture is one of openness, transparency and respect. But Health Committee members believe that several questions remain unanswered.
But I do stress that the issues of a toxic culture, of bad behaviour and of bullying from management is not just confined to the cardiac surgical unit. It is a widespread trust issue, and I've spoken to many doctors across all disciplines within the trust who expressed real concern about management of their problems.
It appears a lot of work lies ahead for the Belfast Trust to improve its workplace culture, especially in the cardiac surgery unit.
And Deborah joins us now in the studio. Deborah, you first revealed the extent of the issues at the Royal several months ago. Are you surprised that things are still ongoing?
Well, not necessarily, Rose. I mean, it takes a very long time to change an embedded culture. And the new chief executive of the Belfast Trust, she only took up her post earlier this month. But I suppose given how high profile these issues became and the intense political debate around the issues within the cardiac surgery unit, I suppose you would have expected that some sort of improvement had been made. But clearly the authors of this report are concerned about what is continuing to happen within the unit. Now, it is worth pointing out that the authors mentioned that within the Belfast Trust there are many examples of excellent behaviour, but they did say that there are other areas within the Trust that need to be tackled. Now, another one of the issues that they raised was around management and governance of conflict within the workplace. And they said that some members of staff relayed to them very distressing accounts of how they feel that they were treated by management and by the organisation as a whole. Now, this report will likely be discussed in length tomorrow at the Health Committee, and I'm sure a lot more questions will be raised.
So, a pretty big report. Has anybody from the Belfast Trust come back and said anything about it?
Well, the Belfast Trust released a statement there just shortly saying that they welcomed the report. And the new chief executive, Jennifer Welsh, who has a lot on her plate, she said that the recommendations, the 10 recommendations within the report on a way forward on how to improve the culture, she said that's a very important next step for the Trust. And she said that the Belfast Trust and the Department of Health will move forward together to build a workplace that is safe and supportive for all.
We'll watch with interest. Deborah McAleese, thank you very much. And if you haven't already, you can catch up on our special investigation into staff concerns at the Belfast Trust Cardiac Unit on ITVX. Just search Shattered Trust.
A man has been sent to jail for 18 months for his part in a loyalist show of strength in East Belfast 4 years ago.
60-year-old Derek Lammy from Spring Place in the east of the city was sentenced after he was found guilty of intimidation at his trial earlier this year. Barbara McCann was in court.
This is Derek Lammy, a man with 37 previous convictions, including the manslaughter of a UDR soldier when he was aged just 15. Now he's been sentenced to 18 months in jail for intimidation connected to this alleged show of strength in the Pitt Park area of East Belfast in February 2021. It was the Crown's case that Lammy was part of an intimidating crowd of 40 masked loyalists who had gathered shouting threats outside a community centre where women and children had taken shelter, including the wife and daughter of Ian Ogle, who had been murdered 2 years previously. He was found guilty at his non-jury trial 5 months ago, despite his denials. His co-accused, 62-year-old Stephen Mackers Matthews, was found not guilty of leading the masked mob. A pre-sentence report compiled by the probation board on Lammy revealed that he had never worked a day in his life and lives off benefits. He had stated that he got involved in an organisation as it gave him a sense of belonging, but claimed he had distanced himself from this group 30 years ago. Lammy still maintains his innocence over the intimidation conviction and says he intends to appeal it. Barbara McCann, UTV Live at Belfast Crown Court.
100 new jobs have been announced by a Belfast cybersecurity company Instill as part of a £6 million investment.
The company, which has operated in the city for 20 years, is on target for a triple turnover in profit. The jobs creation was supported by a £600,000 backing from Invest NI.
having invested in the development of the sector, having prioritised it as one of our priority sectors, ensuring that we are investing in the skills will ensure that we continue to be world leading. I think we have created a real ecosystem here of companies like Instill in this sector across cyber and software that will continue to work together and grow the sector organically, but we as a department will be weighing in behind to support that.
1 in 8 people in Northern Ireland has had direct experience of drug-related intimidation in the last 3 years. That's according to a new report. The Ministers of Justice and Health have welcomed the publication, which highlights the harms caused by drug debt, organised crime and paramilitary groups. Nearly 40% of the population said they were aware of suspected drug-related activity in their community.
There are lots of different parts to this that I think executive colleagues can take on and deliver and actually reduce the vulnerability and reduce the harm in our community. But ultimately, the way to deal with this is to get the organised crime gangs and the paramilitary gangs off the backs of the people of Northern Ireland. And that is our shared objective in the justice system.
It's not going to go away. And when you have a problem like that, the first thing to do is name it and analyse it. And that's what we've done in this report. I have a particular interest in paramilitaries and organised criminals exercising community coercive control, and that's exactly what is happening here, and that is ruining and blighting lives.
A former Sinn Féin press officer jailed last year for pleading guilty to 14 child sex abuse offences has been sentenced to 2 months jail, suspended for 12 months after breaching a sexual offences prevention order. Michael McMonigal, formerly of Limewood Street in Derry, who served 9 months in custody, is currently on licence for the remainder of the 18-month sentence. Today's fresh sentence comes after the 44-year-old admitted accessing an online platform without the permission of a risk manager.
The police remain at the scene of a security alert in County Armagh. Cordons are in place in the Dundrum Road area of Cady.
A new first-of-its-kind clinical research facility has been officially opened at the Ulster Hospital in Dundonald. It'll provide access to world-class research and medicines.
Katie Andrews got exclusive access to the new facility.
Stepping towards better outcomes for patients battling heart disease and other health conditions. This newly opened centre is now operational at the Ulster Hospital and will provide research and medicines for patients like Moya Gibson.
Hello, how are you keeping?
Moya is 78 and is taking part in a medical trial that could prevent heart attacks and strokes. She visits the centre regularly for tests and check-ups.
I have some sort of cardiac problem which results in me having episodes of where, although I'm conscious and I can see and I can hear, I can't respond. And it doesn't last very long and I feel really dreadful afterwards. But then it passes. I think if it wasn't for clinical research, how would you ever find cures? How would you ever refine treatment, drugs? And I think it's just as important to find out what doesn't work as what does work.
Less than 5% of all commercial clinical trials come to the United Kingdom, and this centre will now give Northern Ireland more opportunities to take part in trials and offer greater access to better medicines.
This is the first for Northern Ireland and the first of 21 centres across the United Kingdom. I think it's been a great privilege to be involved in developing this research centre as part of a wider team. In partnership, I do think our offer in Northern Ireland will be very competitive, but most importantly, for the first time in a long time, we'll be able to go toe-to-toe with other people across the UK in providing an attractive site to host research for our patients that will make a clinically meaningful difference to them.
There are over 20 rooms at the facility, which features a dedicated drug dispensary and a lab linked to the hospital's core laboratory. The multi-million-pound investment was key to making the facility a reality.
The 12.6 million of investment has come from a wider source of investment from industry and life sciences sector and is really welcome here to enhance our local health services ability to deliver commercial trial research through the UK commercial delivery research centres.
For now, this centre focuses on patients with cardiovascular and neurological conditions as well as inflammatory bowel disease. But there are plans for it to expand into other areas to help other medical needs. This facility has been described as groundbreaking, and it's hoped it will bring better outcomes for patients. Katie Andrews, UTV Live, the Ulster Hospital.
Well, it's time now to look at tonight's ITV News at 6:30.
And here's Mary Nightingale.
A 15-year-old boy who murdered fellow pupil Harvey Wilgoose at their school in Sheffield has been named. Mohammed Umar Khan was today handed a life sentence with a minimum term of 16 years for Harvey's murder. Sir Keir Starmer has backed calls for a parliamentary inquiry into Prince Andrew's rent-free mansion. And keeping up with Kim Kardashian as she takes on a lead role in a new legal drama. Would you join me for those stories and more at 6:30?
Well, turning to sport now, and the New York Giants have cut Jude McAtamney after he missed 2 extra points in the Giants' 33-32 defeat against the Denver Broncos on Sunday. The Swatra man, who joined the team in 2024, will be hoping another team picks him up.
According to new research, 60% of people in Northern Ireland have thrown away household items which were suitable for repair.
Groups like repair cafes are helping to cut waste by mending everyday items and restoring various family heirlooms. Nathan Hylands reports from Carryduff.
We had to reattach arms and legs. The clothes were all washed, refitted. The hair was so matted.
Breathing new life into old keepsakes. Clocks, clothes, electricals and even dolls. You name the item and the repair cafe will be sure to fix it. This pop-up project in Carryduff is one of 12 across Northern Ireland. People bring their broken bits along hoping to get them fixed and to stop them going into the skip.
The owner of the doll doesn't know anything about this, which I just think is absolutely amazing. With dolls, there's always a sentimental thing going on with them. And it's not the first time there's been some tears in here as well.
Our Christmas is always based on Disney, and we're disappointed that, you know, we're having this lovely ornament, and unfortunately after less than a minute it lights up and then just knocks off.
So initial diagnosis then, you've got it, you think?
Yeah, we think there's an intermittent fault in this. At the minute it's staying on, and even just moving the tree may have improved something on it.
The community group is run by volunteers who keep their range of skills sharpened during their work. Preserving the personal value of what's been brought along is just as important as physically mending.
The clocks keep me full time here, and there's not many people repairing clocks at the minute.
He fixed a cuckoo clock for me. That was my father's as well. And my late husband hated the music of it. It interfered with the television. And he stopped it, and I didn't know what he did.
The cup of tea and the bun and the chat's as important as the fix itself. So obviously our main aim is to stop things going into landfill and reduce the environmental impact, but there's a really positive social impact as well.
The National Lottery Community Fund backs the projects. Their research has shown how repair cafes like this one are making a difference.
They found that nearly 60% of people had thrown away items that could have been fixed just because they maybe didn't know where to get them mended. And so we're providing a kind of solution to that. We've already been able to fix 7.5 tons of stuff over the last 7 years, and it's growing all the time.
This plate was brought from India. My daughter and son-in-law were visiting the Taj Mahal, and this plate was purchased as a present for me. Unfortunately, on its way back, it's cracked in transit. And I brought it along today to see if it could be repaired, and so far the repair is holding, so it looks as if it's been successfully done.
This practical way of extending the life of many cherished items has helped build local communities while also caring for the environment. Nathan Hylands, UTV Live, Carryduff.
Now, these trophies will probably give you a bit of a hint about our next guest, who has made history. Joanne Harris is the first person from Northern Ireland to be crowned the Pride of Britain Fundraiser of the Year.
A friend's breast cancer journey inspired Joanne to set up Knitted Knockers of Northern Ireland. The charity provides hand-knitted prosthetics to women who have undergone surgery. And she also provides mental health and well-being support for breast cancer survivors. We are honoured to say Joanne is with us right now.
Joanne, it's really lovely to have you in the studio. Has the big win sunk in yet?
No, I don't really think it has. It's surreal, you know, and it was quite overwhelming.
Well, you handled it awfully well. We were watching you and we thought it was absolutely smashing.
Thank you.
Now, the other thing is, of course, it was a big night for you. You were meeting not only fellow contestants, but there were quite a number of famous people there too.
Yeah, there was a lot of celebs, and they had said to us to go around them and, you know, chat to them. My daughter's a real fan of Michael Sheen, so he was there, so we were able to get a photograph for her with him. So
and
there
you
was
must
so
have met Gloria
many.
Hannaford too, who's almost a near neighbour from Portadown.
Yes, yes, we met Gloria going in, so we had a wee chat with her and photograph with her as well.
So the big question now is, what are you going to do next?
We're actually out of this really. We're able to start a secondary breast cancer support group, which we don't have in the Southern Trust area. And I'd met a girl who had recognised me on TV from the regional award. So we're going to start that on the 29th of October. And then also we're starting another Breast Friends Clubhouse support group in Banbridge in the Boulevard, along with our other knitting group there.
Of course, you'll have come across a lot of other people who were in exactly the same boat as you were. They were up there trying to win that top prize. I mean, were there any other projects there that really stuck out for you?
Yeah, there was a lady who had dealt with hearing, like a hearing community. I thought that was really good. But I think what was really lovely was whenever we arrived, we had lunch with all 17 nominees that had won their regional, you know, like myself, the regional section. So that was really lovely to hear all their stories, and all of them were amazing. I think that's what brought it home, that it was just so wonderful that we won it. And we were able to bring the trophy home to Northern Ireland.
An honour for us.
Not only one, but this one here is very special.
Yeah, they said this was the first time that they'd done 2 trophies, so they got one knit specially for us. So the knitters will love that.
Now, it was all very well meeting all those famous people and the glitz and the lights, but what's the reaction been like at home, just in brief?
Just so many lovely messages, and just everybody's really happy. You know.
Well, we're delighted for you as well. Thank you for coming in.
It's only the beginning, you know. Now, it's been a brighter day today. Let's see what's in store next.
And Louise has the weather forecast.
It's time to take a rain check. There's no place like home. UTV weather. Sponsored by the Grande Rona R290 heat pump.
Hello there. Good evening. It was a rather cool and crisp start this morning, but we had some beautiful spells of sunshine. Over the next couple of days, we will see bright and sunny spells at times, but a few scattered showers will blow in, quite blustery at times, becoming heavy, and it will feel noticeably cooler as well as we start to draw in a northerly air feed. Now, Storm Benjamin, named by Meteo France, is slowly starting to edge off to the southeast. We shouldn't really feel any impacts from that, but we have the next low pressure system edging in tomorrow night, bringing some blustery showers, heavy at times, with strengthening winds. Tonight, though, a few late spells of sunshine, 1 or 2 scattered showers pushing through in the overnight period, but most places should stay largely dry. The winds will start to pick up, coming from a northerly direction, feeling quite cool and chilly. Temperatures dipping to lows of 6 degrees Celsius. However, in the coldest rural spots, they could fall a few degrees lower. Last night, Catesbridge saw temperatures dip to 2 degrees Celsius. Tomorrow gets off to a rather blustery start. Further scattered showers filtering through, becoming drier for some during the afternoon with a few bright and sunny breaks. But then we see the next area of low pressure starting to edge in, bringing those scattered showers across the northwest. Some heavy bursts there. Temperatures reaching highs of 10 degrees Celsius tomorrow. It's not feeling too warm if you're planning on heading out. Across the rest of Ireland, it's a largely similar picture, mostly dry, a few scattered showers at times, brisk blustery winds, 1 or 2 heavy bursts of rain there into the afternoon, and temperatures reaching highs of 10 or 11 degrees Celsius. We do have a few cool and chilly nights in the forecast over the next couple of nights. We could see a touch of frost forming in places, and by day, temperatures falling below average. Bye-bye.
UTV weather, sponsored by the Grande Rona R290 heat pump.
That's it, this Wednesday, the 22nd of October.
Now, we've got to give these back to you. Joanne, say night.
Good evening.
Bye-bye.
Well done.
Thank you.